Boss's Retirement Garage. I'm in the she shed today. Thought I would just, but I'll do one video from the she shed. I'll do one from the garage. I'll do one from my, I think it's my bird seed shed is what it's turning into. That's the one I put up last year. Hey, thank you for coming over and joining the channel. I know Dwayne at Retire Early 500K mentioned about me and Joe Kuhn, and I appreciate that, Dwayne. And those of you who have come over from his channel, I appreciate you subscribing. The more the merrier. Anyway, I wanted to, this is a segment of a hodgepodge of different retirement things. So I call this the ramblings of a retired lunatic because this rambling can go anywhere. And speaking of ramblings, I have to apologize for a video that I did. It's the only one out of a couple hundred, I think I'm at 300 maybe. 300 videos that I've done that I actually got so disgusted that I had to delete it. Now, why did I get disgusted? This was about last week, I think it was. And I say ramblings because that's what I do sometimes. I don't script anything. I get a concept in my head and I run with it. I'm natural. That's how it is. What you see is what you get. There's no Hollywood script in any of my stuff. So, and not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but I just don't do it. I get a concept and I run. And unfortunately, there's certain subjects that you have to be careful because they touch a nerve. And the video I did about Social Security, just the way I rambled on about this video, you guys had the impression that I said that Social Security is not taxed in any way, shape, or form. And that was not my intention. Oh my gosh. What I had intended, so I apologize, but what I had intended, and I'll just touch on this briefly, was that, you know, you see all these memes out there and you see all these different things about Social Security being taxed. And I know someone, actually a couple people, that bitch about Social Security being taxed, yet they are not paying tax on Social Security currently. And that was kind of my goal, was to say that, and in my case, this is what I get. I get, you know, this is the amount we get. So I was basically saying that, and if you're just on Social Security only, and I said this 3 times in the video, but again, I rambled, and I guess if you weren't paying attention, because I rewatched it, if you weren't paying really close attention, you could take it either way, but I wasn't saying that. 3 times I said, if you're on Social Security only, you're not going to pay Social Security taxes on Social Security, which is basically a true fact. Unless you can get maxed out way up here on Social Security, maybe there's a chance, but you know, probably you're not going to be taxed. And that's what I was after. And then I got all these comments. You shouldn't put out videos if you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know your A from the hole in the ground. You don't know, you know, it's like, oh my gosh. And I felt so bad. I was like, oh my, I don't do stuff like that. I don't try to give out any information that people can take the wrong way. I tried to speak fact. That's how, and for some reason, I listened to it again. I watched it again myself. And I did it, you know, after I kind of made my point, I started rambling on about other things, and I didn't talk about, I think I just didn't point it out. I didn't point out that, yes, you're definitely going to be taxed. So anyway, there's good that came out of this. Even though I deleted the video, there was some good that came out of this because, one, you're paying attention, and that's good. 2, I had people, like I had Judy, Amarissa, Tim, all email me. And Tim even said, hey, call me. I'm going to walk you through everything. Now, I'm not an expert, but I kind of know the basics of how you would be taxed on Social Security. I do know those basics. My point was that when I retired, or before I retired, I was looking at tax tables and thinking that Social Security, so my $46,000, was going to hit the tax table. Well, that's not necessarily true because the feds only look at 50% of your Social Security income. So in the sheet that, or the whiteboard that I showed you, I'm making $46,512 with me and my wife. We're married, okay, and we get $46,512, so we're both getting checks. The Fed's only going to look at half of that. Now, standard deductions, so that's $23,200. Standard deductions are like $32,000. So I can even make extra money. Now, there's standard deduction, and then if you're both over 65, you're going to get some extra money. And I won't get into all the details of that because I'll confuse everybody again, including myself. But I wanted to thank Judy and Marissa and Tim for emailing me, and also to Buffy, because she said, oh, I guess it's a she. She said to go ahead and look up IRS publication booklet 915. So, of course, I did that just to see. And there's a worksheet and everything else. So that's good information to have. And Buffy, I appreciate that. And then Michael actually sent me, and I didn't get Michael's permission to show this yet. And hopefully if he sees this video, he's not angry at me. But he actually sent this PowerPoint or PDF doc, whatever you want to call this. It looks more like a PowerPoint, right? With my Buzz's Retirement Garage on here. And yeah, it's two-sided, so it's probably leaking through. Yeah, it might be leaking through, but basically it said during retirement you have various sources of income: Social Security, pension, IRA, 401, Roth, annuities, after-tax brokerage account, interest income, RMDs, and part-time work. And he says, if your only source of taxable income is Social Security, you will pay no income tax, which is what the IRS publication 915 said too. But I think there are some cases where if you max out, maybe there's some cases, but I don't know. But anyway, that's all I was trying to get across to everybody, was the fact that I'm on Social Security, and if I didn't have YouTube income, and I have very little interest income, assuming I don't have a pension, I don't have any of this stuff, technically I'm not going to pay federal taxes. Now, my YouTube channel will change that, possibly, and my tax man's still working on the stuff. So we did file an extension. I should say, and I did pay what I think I owed. I did TurboTax, but because I'm self-employed for the first year, this is the first year, last year, I should say, that I had self-employment income, which is the YouTube channel, I decided to go seek professional advice and not TurboTax. TurboTax, I think, is great. I think it does a great job. Of the tax softwares out there, I think it does a great job. But I want to get, talk back and forth with someone. So he's not a CPA, but he's an accredited, whatever you call it. There's some kind of accreditation. I'm not even sure what it is. But he's got a backlog. He's a one-man band, and he's got a backlog. So hopefully we'll get that done soon. But anyway, thank you to Michael for that. And I'll leave it at that. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody this time either. But yeah, I'm not an expert on anything like that, and I try to steer away from anything Medicare, anything Medicaid, anything Social Security, because I'm not an expert. And the one thing you don't want is you don't want to watch videos of people who tell you things and it turns out to be incorrect. Especially when you get into more complicated things like Social Security. I mean, it's not cut and dried, so it's better that you you get somebody who has their credentials. Now, there were some people that sent me some videos, people who are very well schooled in Social Security. They do that for a living. They don't work for Social Security, but they they understand it fully. And those are the type of videos you want to seek out and learn more from. Me, you don't want to listen to me as far as Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, any of that stuff. And I'll leave it at that. So the other subject is in retirement. Now, I tell you what, last year was my first summer off in 47 years. I think I counted back. Going all the way back to my junior year in high school. That summer was the last summer where I didn't work at all. From my senior year on, I worked at least a little bit in every year during the summer. So whether it had been a part-time job or whether I worked a full-time job and then stopped, or whether, just different jobs and bringing in income. And when you think back to that after my senior year, that first summer, to last summer was 47 years. So, of course, in the retirement world, that's interesting because it's like a new life. It's a brand new, it's Twilight Zone. It really is Twilight Zone. You're starting off, you haven't done this in 47 years where you just had the time off like you could not believe. You wake up every day and it's like, you don't have to go to work. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to go to work. And just yesterday, and happy Memorial Day, day after Memorial Day to all of you. I hope everything went well for you. I know some of the states had some bad weather. We had good weather. We didn't do much here. Just hung around the house. So, but we enjoyed it. But last night I was sitting there feeding my birds, throwing peanuts to the Blue Jays, and I thought to myself, man, this summer I just have a different attitude about things, because this summer I'm going to be more specific about how I get things done and what I get done. So last summer, being the first summer off in 47 years, I was all over the place. I was doing this, I was doing that, I was catching up on things I haven't done in decades. And yeah, I made a dent in everything, and I was able to do stuff, but I didn't complete everything that was on the list. Come on. After decades, you have a list a mile long. Well, this year I'm more focused, and I can feel it, that the stress level is at zero. I'm more focused about what I want to get done and how I want to get it done. And yeah, don't tell me, to you subscribers that have been with me for a long time, let's not talk about the bathroom. I'm still waiting for my Home Depot flooring, for crying out loud. What a joke, but whatever. It'll get here. I'm retired. If I was in the construction trades and I ordered something, I would be really upset, because, time is money if you're working and you're trying to do all that. But for a retired guy, okay, if it comes in tomorrow, it comes in tomorrow, whatever. But I don't know what's going on. It's been since the beginning of May. We're almost a month now, and the flooring still isn't here. But anyway, so yes, I'm working on that bathroom still. And as soon as that flooring gets here, things are going to pop like crazy. But there's just little things like, here's something simple. A switch. Just a switch. I wanted for the other bathroom. Because when you go in there, it's dark, and I don't have a big night light. And I've always wanted to put in an LED or lighted switch. So, you turn on the light, but you want the switch to be lit up. So I went to Home Depot the other day, and it was $5 for just a basic switch. So I have a plate with one for the fan, for the shower, and one for the lights. And, in 5 minutes, I pulled that up, put it on, cleaned it up and everything else. And now it's a lighted switch. I've been wanting to do that for years and years and years. And finally I got it done. Something so simple like that. But it was a major accomplishment to me. Because once you get into get into retirement, you can start doing those things. And I'm telling you, I feel so much better this year. Like last year was a rookie season for me. Like, how do I handle retirement? Because remember, I retired in September of 2023. And how did, that, and I got through the winter, the fall and the winter, no problem because of the holidays, and, it was great. And then, the winter time came and I made it through. Yeah, I made that one. It was okay. But that summer was just, it was the greatest thing. And I know a lot of you have just retired or you're about to retire, and you're going to get that first couple of months of your body don't know what your mind's thinking, and your mind doesn't know what your body wants to do. They are not going to match. And now some people say, they've commented to me, they say, oh, everything was fine. Other people have said they're on a year now and they're still not meshing up. So everybody's going to be different in their transition to retirement. And that's something that doesn't get talked about enough. There's a big transition phase, at least for me there was. After 47 years, think about it. There's going to be some type of transition. And everybody handles it differently. And so far, like I said, I got through there. But this past winter, it was tough. It was tough because it was cold and snowy, and we're in Cleveland, Ohio. And, we don't have the beautiful temperatures and, bright blue skies of winter like some states do. But that's okay. We like the four seasons here. It's just last winter was just a struggle, and I have to just plan better and figure out how I'm going to handle that. Making day trips or weekend trips or week-long trips to a southern location, or there's a variety of things that we can do to get out of the cold of Cleveland winters. So, but now, got through that winter. Now the spring and summer, like I said, I'm more focused. I feel like I have more energy. I'm really ready to get a bunch of stuff done and do some traveling, and I'm just excited about this part of retirement right now. And I think if you're out there and you've gotten into this, this is second year, if you want to call it, 19 months basically, you're going to feel that too. You're just going to start, I guess, getting used to retirement, but yet, I don't know, you sort of come into it like this, and then you kind of bottom out, and now I'm starting to go back up again. I've got a focus. I know what I want to get done. I'm more ambitious every day. Like, I wake up wanting to get stuff done, where before I was kind of waking up and like, let's see, what do I do today? I'm already thinking the night before, hey, I want to get this done, I want to get this done. And it's easier in the summer. We did the raised bed garden. I'm just got to order the soil for that. Just things are getting done now. And I was laughing because there's a table outside. And I'll have to show it to you in another video. I have a glass top table sitting where I feed the birds. We leave it out all year. It's kind of a junky table, but it's glass, so you just clean it a couple of times a year, and it's nice. But the table's got to be 20 years old. But so I painted it, right? I spray painted it. Well, I noticed that, and I spray painted it before I was retired. Well, guess what? If you look through the glass, you can see the top of the legs is not spray painted. Because for whatever reason, when I did the legs, you have to, you can't do it all at one time, of course, unless you hang them. You could spray the bottom and spray the top. But for whatever reason, I didn't spray. I must have turned it over, sprayed the legs, and then put it back without spraying the top. Either I ran out of paint, ran out of time, ran out of patience, and all three of those can happen to you in retirement. Before retirement, I should say. You ran out of paint. You don't have time to go get some more. Or, I'll get it next weekend. Because you only had the weekends and maybe some hours after work, You ran out of patience. It's like, yes, I got to do 15 things. I got to get this done. Kids got to go here. We got to do this. We got this meeting. And I just cut it short. And I just sit there and I laugh. I just sit at that table now and I laugh. How could I have not finished this thing? Isn't that crazy? How could I have not finished it? And I just use that as some kind of identity of before retirement and after retirement. Because now I'm going to take it apart and sand it down and primer it and paint it. I'm going to do it right because I have time now. And that's the greatest thing. And I'm going to turn these pieces of garbage into some Picasso work. How's that sound? That last thing, I signed up to do the dog kennels, volunteering at the dog kennels. Another thing that I wouldn't suggest doing it right away. I always suggest to people in retirement, let it come to you. Don't force anything. Like, I have to do this. No, just that first maybe 6 months or that first year, let it come to you. You're learning. After your 47 years or your 30 years or your 20 years, whatever it is that you were in the workforce, you're out of it now and you're learning. You're learning how to retire. So don't force anything. Don't try to grab onto a lot of different things. Just sit back and enjoy and let it come to you. And it will. It'll come to you. And so my daughter's been doing volunteering at a dog kennel near her in Cleveland. So I thought, I had 2 dogs, or I've had dogs all my life. My last 2 dogs here at this house, one passed at 13 and the other one passed around 13 years. And in between was 3 years. So this last one that passed was about 3 years ago. So, I thought, well, maybe it's time to get another dog. Maybe I'll get a senior dog, because I don't want it to outlive me. So I thought, maybe I'll get a senior dog. That would be cool. And then I thought, taking that one step further is, now that I've got a handle on retirement, maybe I should just go volunteer at the dog kennel. So I did. I went through an orientation, and then I went through a training class last week, and I start next week. So it's only 1 day a week, and I can make it more if I want, but 1 day a week for only an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just something to do. And then, it's kind of like a win-win, because I get to do something. I get to help people and animals because they're struggling for dog walkers. And I get to I get to pick of the litter, so to speak, and I get to see what dogs are there, and maybe I'll foster one, or maybe I'll take one home. And Mrs. Buzz is already saying, oh boy, I can already see it now. House full of dogs. And that could happen, who knows. But yes, volunteering could be an important thing. Give it some time after you retire, and I'd like to even inquire about Meals on Wheels. I think serving the elderly, who are older than me, I'm already elderly, but serving someone older than me, I think of my grandparents and how that would have helped them, Meals on Wheels, or something similar. I think that would be a real good thing too. So I'm looking into that, but I'll start the dog thing first, see how much more time I have. Stay focused. And then maybe the Meals on Wheels. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, I rambled on long enough. So it's been 23 minutes, 24 minutes. So if you're still with me, I appreciate that. And tomorrow we have a live at 2 o'clock on Wednesdays. We're trying to do a live at 2. If you'd like to be on the live with me, like Dwayne, if you'd like to be on the live with me, or Steve, or anybody who wants to be on there, we'll do it at 2 o'clock. We'll use StreamYard, and we'll get you on there for 10 minutes, and we'll talk. Tell us about your retired life. If you're interested in doing that, email me at buzzretirementgarage@gmail.com, and we will facilitate that. And Saturdays, we do a live at 7 p.m. We also give away a gift card, for an Amazon gift card for $25. And so those of you who don't know that, yes, we do that. That comes from Buzz's Retirement Garage. Has nothing to do with YouTube. That's the legal disclaimer I'm supposed to say. So anyway, take care. Enjoy your week. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow.